sent to you?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Okay. All right. If you have seen the links, that's fine. So as I've explained in the lessons that are pre-recorded for you guys during the Freedom Day, is that we did lesson 49 to 54 when we were talking about formulating strategies. And there are some decisions that we unpacked there. Then I realized that there was a break that you guys had when you're submitting assignments, and we did not do lesson 43 to 48. So lesson 42, 43 to 48 were about planning a strategy. So we were way ahead of everything when we spoke about formulating a strategy. So I had to take you guys back because those slides are very relevant to your assignment. It talks about SOSTAC, how you plan a strategy, how you do SMART analysis, and so on. So we have done the series on those lessons, and now we are back on strategy formulating. So strategy formulation, as you remember, guys, in previous weeks, we spoke about how you can have different options for a strategy. So in case this does not work out, this is my plan B, this is my plan C, and so on. So we discussed that there are decisions that we need to unpack when formulating a strategy. The first decision that we unpacked was market and product development. And on this one, we also used the ENSOF grid. How you're going to penetrate the market, how you're going to consider the product development strategy, how you're going to consider diversification. So you realize that most businesses out there, especially in South African context, they are utilizing the ENSOF grid. They are focusing on product and market development as an alternative to their strategy, as part of their strategy formulation. Think about how the banks are diversifying their products. Think about how the insurance companies are modifying their products, the mobile providers and so on, mobile network providers. Banks nowadays are in the insurance sector, they are offering funeral services. Insurance nowadays are in the banking sector, they are offering banking services like Discovery. It has got a bank, FNB, it has got life insurance and stuff like that. So it's part of product diversification, it's part of a strategy formulation. Think about banks competing with network providers having SIM cards, or think about network providers competing with printing companies having printers and so forth. So that's part of product and market development. So that's the decision one that we unpacked. Then we unpacked decision two, where we spoke about business models and revenue models. So here you'll be formulating a strategy that needs to align with the traditional business model. And that model must make sure that it generates income or at least better the profits. So everything that you are seeing that most companies are doing, being present online, having your spa coming up with spa to you, having your Woolies coming up with Dash, having your Pick and Pay coming up with ASAP, having your Checkers coming up with 60/60. It's part of strategy formulation whereby they are using the digital transformation to increase their sales, to widen their business model. We spoke about business models before. We spoke about consumer to consumer and so forth. So when formulating your strategy, you also need to think about decision two. We unpacked decision three. In decision three, we spoke about target media. Who is it that you want to talk to? So the target media has to be in line with your objectives. You need to segment your audience. You need to use the right channels. You need to use the right platforms. Otherwise, your voice, your brand voice, will be hanging in out there with no one receiving your brand message. So that was the target media. You know, if your target was the teenagers who are 13 to 19 years, and you realize that the strategy is not working well, you go back to strategy formulation and ask yourself, can I now consider the millennials? Can I up the target audience range yet? Or maybe increase, instead of being from 13 to 19, how about if I reach out to the youths and target 18 to 35? So that was decision 3. In this lesson, we are going to talk about decision 4, which is more like competitor analysis, whereby you need to come up with a differential advantage over your competitors. So we continue with the outcomes for the series, whereby you need to be able to evaluate digital strategy approaches for different marketplaces. But before I take you into differential advantages, are there any things that you'd like to discuss or that you'd like to add on everything that I've summarized so far?
Yeah, what lessons are those discussions?
It's lesson 49 to 54.
Oh, okay. Are you sharing the screen?
Yes, I am,
I say I
but
can't see.
let me stop and share it again. Maybe you can't see it because you came in late. I don't know if you can see the screen now.
Yeah, I can see.
All right, so everything that was summarizing before, it was lesson 49 to 54. Now we are on lesson 55, where we are going to be unpacking decision 4. So we've unpacked decision 1, 2, 3. I think there are 7 decisions altogether. You can just check and have a look in your textbooks. So in this lesson, we are going to look at differential advantage, online value proposition, as well as an activity 4.3. So differential advantage. How a company decides to compete in the market, which is positioning, provides an organization what is called a differential advantage. We can also refer this to a competitive advantage. And I gave you guys a formula for competitive advantage, where agility times reach is equals time to market. So the aim of positioning is the development of a differential advantage. How you set yourself at the bar above your competitors. So key to creating a differential advantage is the segments and elements of market mix. There are sources, or there are things that determine the differential advantage. And these things are price, brand experience, and quality of a service. So price, whenever someone talks about price, we always rush to the affordability of something, that things have to be cheaper in order to have a competitive advantage, which is completely not true. That's why you see most people, when you ask them about Wish, do you remember Wish, guys, an e-commerce site?
Yes, sir.
Yes, so most people say that Wish has got prices that are too good to be true. So lower prices do not necessarily lead to differential advantage. That's what I'm trying to say. Price must be gauged against value. So customers need to be able to see that the price for this is going to return more value than it is, especially considering that things are tough nowadays. The economy is so bad, and you think that if things are very low, consumers are going to buy from you. That's not correct. Consumers are looking for things that last. I would give you an example of Mr. Price and Total Sport. Do you all know Mr. Price?
Yes, sir.
And do you know Total Sport?
Sure.
All right, correct. So let's say there's a shoe. There's a pair of shoes that is being sold at Mr. Price for 150 rands. And there is a pair of All-Star Converse that is being sold at Total Sport for 950 rands. You see, the price, it is cheaper at Mr. Price, obviously, than at Total Sport. And the shoe that is being sold at Mr. Price is also cheaper than the Converse All-Star that is being sold at Total Sport. However, this does not necessarily mean that customers are going to rush to Mr. Price to get that shoe at Mr. Price, which is being sold at 150 because things are tough. No. What customers will do, they will look at the value and the quality of the product. How is this product going to last me? So realize that a pair of Converse All-Star can last someone 5 to 6 years. So let's just say it's going to last someone 5 years. Whereas that pair of shoe that is being sold at Mr. Price for 150 rands is going to last someone just 6 months. So you realize that in 6 months, the shoe is worn out or it's torn or it's damaged. So it means that in a year, you need to get that shoe twice. But with that Converse, you're going to have it in 5 years. So in 5 years, with the shoe that you get at Mr. Price, you're going to buy it twice in a year. And if you say 5 times 2, that's 10. So it means in 5 years, you are going to spend 150 rands times 10. That's 1,500. Whereas at Total Sport, in 5 years, you would spending 950 rands. I don't know if I'm making any sense, guys. So price only does not set the differential advantage. It has to be price versus the quality of the product. How long is it going to last me? You know, brands must not assume that consumers don't think, must not underestimate the intelligence of consumers, especially now when things are tough. Consumers are more conscious of their budgets. They are doing many calculations than brands are doing themselves. Think about the calculations that you make yourself every week. How you try to balance the money that you have. How much am I going to spend when going to school? How much must I allocate for food when I'm in school? How much must I get for data? And so on. So consumers, when the economic is tough, they actually become great mathematicians. They know how to separate. They know how to multiply. They know how to divide. So you wouldn't underestimate their intelligence and thinking that if you've got a cheaper price, then that's going to be a source of differentiation. They always think about how something is going to last. Then we've got brand experience. Brand experience matters because it is the sum of all the sensations, thoughts, feelings, and reactions that individuals have in response to a brand. So realize that if I mention a certain brand to you right now, immediately you have some thoughts about that brand, how it interacts with people, what it stands for in society, the quality products that it sells, everything about that product, you know. And people would always like to associate more with a brand that they've got a good experience with and resonate well with. So brand experience is a source of differential advantage because it always leads to brand trust. It always leads to brand authenticity as well as brand loyalty. Then we have quality of a service. Of course, quality service is very, very important. It's of paramount importance when it comes to digital marketing, because the way you engage with people, with customers on digital platforms, you know, using that race model from their reach and to the actual completion of a sale and the entire cycle determines the customer retention. So if you have got poor quality of a service, chances are high that a customer is not going to come back to buy again. So there won't be any retention there. And it doesn't end there. Once there is no retention, there can also be bad reviews. Once the service is poor, customers have got the ability to go and rant about the brand, go to Hello Peter and so on, and they can easily rate you 1 out of 5. So quality of service is very important. We spoke about it when we were doing customer analysis, the touch points that brands need to implement in order to aid a customer in the entire customer journey as well as the customer experience. There are so many sources of differential advantage that we can talk about here, but these are the ones that I'd like you guys to memorize with and think about those that I did not mention. You can even apply the 7S framework. Yes, the 7S framework can be a source of differential advantage. Think about the style of a company, Nando's and the style. Think about the skills that specific companies have. Think about the shared values and all those components of the S. They do matter and they do contribute to differential advantage. Are you getting it, guys? Are there any questions so far before I proceed? All right, now we move on to online or digital value proposition. A digital value proposition clarifies and communicates the positioning and differential advantage of a company. So it involves developing online content and services that communications reinforce a brand proposition and credibility. Communicates what a visitor gets from a brand online and offline, as well as the messages communicated both offline and online. So brand presence, not just having digital assets, because most people are confused with brand presence online, digital brand presence or online presence. Online presence is not only about having social media pages, having a website, having a WhatsApp group and so on. It is about having active digital platforms and active communication. So that would lead to online value proposition. How you reinforce your brand and credibility through developing digital content, how you communicate both offline and online. There has to be a sync and how messages are communicated. So all these must lead to an online value proposition. There are benefits to online value proposition, such as distinguishing the e-commerce site from the competitor sites. So you can certainly know the difference between Wish and Shein based on the content that they create, the quality, the images, and the videos, the podcast, and everything that they create on their sites. It also provides a focus on marketing efforts. So company staff will be clear on the purpose of the site. You know, it's always very interesting to find out that someone works at Pick n Pay and they're not clear about the communication culture that Pick n Pay enacts on its website. They don't even know the web address of the website. So they don't know the purpose of the staff of the company, yet they are working for that company. It can also be used for public relations and word of mouth recommendation. Remember, we spoke about the relevance and the importance of earned media when we're looking at three types of digital media, namely paid, owned, and earned. So this is where you get the full benefits of earned media, which can be spread through the word of mouth. And also another benefit of online value proposition is that it can be linked to to product propositions. There are so many benefits that you can think of outside this session that even you guys can also discuss them in WhatsApp groups or co-campus discussion forum. I find it very disappointing that students never engage on provided discussion forums. Like the groups, the forums are always dead as if it's not for digital marketing. Then in groups, you are supposed to work on activity 4.3, and each group need to present their findings in class. So I'm going to take this to the group. I'm going to put it in the WhatsApp, and I'd like you guys to group each other. I'd like you guys to group each other and complete activity 4.3. Then you are going to present your findings on Thursday. I've put that in the WhatsApp group as well. There's a need for us to have more engagement rather than just relaxing, blaming everything on load shedding. We are not load shedding our bodies. Our bodies keep pumping, our hearts keep pumping. So we need to engage more. Are there any questions so far with everything that we have covered?
So what page is activity 4.3?
I don't have the textbook with me, but I can quickly check for you on my online version. Where is that? So I'm quickly opening up the textbook that I have online. But can you see the decisions?
Yeah, I'm able to see the decisions, but I can't see the activity that you.
Okay, I'm quickly opening my document here and have a look where
Because we were doing decision 4, right?
yes.
Yes. So oh, okay. So I found it.
You found it. All right.
Yeah, it's page 172.
All right. Let me just, because I always avoid having the same queries over and over again. Let me just put that on the group. You said on page?
172.
All right, perfect. So are there any questions, guys? Yeah, are you all good? hope she can hear me.